The more I think about it, I really do like Himari as a character, and yet I haven't been able to truly say she's one of my favorites. Why is that?
I mean, as far as character arcs go, she had a really solid one. Her character-focused episodes were all good, thanks in no small part to the fact that she resolved the major conflicts of each mostly by herself.
As a coming-of-age character, she's been written pretty well, but then I remember, she hasn't gotten the same quality of writing when it comes to being a precure.
What I mean is that she hasn't done anything really notably heroic, which is a shame because after Shiel, she is probably the most naturally competent of the group, not really relying on Deus Ex Machinas unless everyone else is doing it.
But outside of being fast and a strategist sometimes, she really hasn't done anything all that outstanding. Will that opinion change after this episode though? Well, let's see.
While working at the cashier, some of Himari's classmates arrive and take note of how much more assertive she's become since the beginning of the anime. So much so, in fact, that they suggest she audition for the role of an assistant chef on a TV special about baking sweets. Himari enthusiastically accepts. 10 points to anyone out there who got that reference. Anyway, as a nice nod to continuity, Himari also gets in some last-minute baking practice with Dr. Tachibana. He again gives her some good advice, in particular that she should just be herself. The next day, Himari arrives for the audition at TV Strawberry?
A TV station with a fruit motif. Is this by any chance connected with the Yggdrasil Corporation? Because if that's the case, I think you should find a different gig, Himari.
And it's not long before Himari is able to scope out the competition.
Okay, they're really starting to hammer in how next season might be idol-themed.
But yeah, this cooking show audition attracted a bunch of idols, including cameos from this anime's OP and ED singers, Yuri Komakata and Kanako Miyamoto. By the way, nice subtle actor illusion there from Miyamoto there, guys. After an act that I'm pretty sure the real-life Kamokata would never be able to pull off, it's Himari's turn, and she's asked to pretend to make whipped cream. While doing so, she goes into 50% Elton Brown mode and starts describing almost every little detail about the stuff. And while she's clearly passionate, her wordiness doesn't gain her any favors with the judges.
Dude, I think she's a lot better than most of the wearers of the next Food Network star. At least she has actual personality.
But yeah, this results in a producer uttering the very same words that one kid from Himari's past said. With those words echoing in her head, Himari gives up on the audition. The trauma of her past puts the poor girl into a state of near self-loathing. A little detail that a certain pretty boy stalker takes note of. Later, the TV studio seemingly erupts into a state of total chaos.
Yeah, it's just an average day at the toy offices.
Himari encounters Eliseo, who commits probably the most legitimately evil thing he's ever done in this show and burns Himari's notebooks. And from there, he metamorphs into his most evil form so far.
The man of the past from Deno?
So, Eliseo Sakurai does his usual thing and yanderes things up by reminding Himari of her past and how in spite of how much she's grown, Himari just looped back to being the lonely girl who drowned herself in her studies. Convinced that her pursuits for sweets knowledge were all for nothing, Himari almost submits to Eliseo. That is, until she sees the remains of her notes and realizes that through her studies and passion for baking, she was anything but alone. She manages to transform, forcing Eliseo to just take her out the old-fashioned way. However, it proves futile as this is not the Himari from a few minutes earlier. This was a Himari who could acknowledge her shortcomings, acknowledge that she hasn't completely changed, and yet still move forward towards sharing her passions and knowledge with those around her. Of all people, Himari manages to push back Eliseo. Unfortunately, a full-on epic one-on-one between the two is again cut short by the usual group attack nonsense. Darn it. With that, Eliseo's influence is lifted from the studio, and Himari even gets a second chance for an audition after she's mistaken for another applicant while still in precure form.
What was that girl auditioning for that required a squirrel outfit? What, was it a TV special featuring the Kemono friend? Ooh. Never mind, let's just forget about that. Too much controversy there for my taste.
Anyway, this time, Himari just goes full on Elton Brown mode and doesn't stop. Next thing you know, she's gonna be asking for puppets to come in and help her explain the science behind baking chocolate chip cookies. With that, the episode ends with Himari saying that even though she lost her old notebooks, she's looking forward to writing some brand new ones, as well as the new connections she'll be able to form through them.
Okay, that was a pretty great episode. I mean, of all the characters, so far at least, I think Himari has gotten the most satisfying conclusion to a character arc.
I think that while having a character change as they develop is a given, it's also important to acknowledge where they start from and maintain at least some of that old self. To me, Himari's arc embodies this idea to a T. Her traumatic experience in primary school left her unwilling to fully express herself out of fear that she'd just end up alienating herself all over again. But while she was a bit of a motor mouth back then and needed to improve her speaking skills, which she did, the bigger issue she needed to overcome from that experience was accepting defeat. Each of her character episodes have had her fail or mess up in fairly mundane ways, but because of her oversensitive nature, she took it much harder than she needed to. Thus, her character arc was learning how failure should not totally define us as people. Yes, we can and should learn from them, but often they shouldn't change the core of who we are as people. And thanks to this episode, the Himari of the past was finally able to return and become a part of the recipe for the Himari of the future. While I'm still not totally sold on her being a precure, more of a fault of this damn show than anything else, I think the most important aspects of Himari as a character were able to come to the surface, so good job there, little squirrel girl.
If you haven't seen it yet, I recently posted up a cooking video for Akira's dog chocolates, where I too also kind of motorboarded my way through explaining the science behind it. Check it out, as I think it was actually one of the more fun recipes I've done so far. I'm currently still in the scripting phase for my sweet pre-cure review, but I'll still try and get it out as soon as I can. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and... Hello? Oh, my application for an audition got through? Great, so what's the role? I gotta wear a bear costume? By any chance, does this role involve Nicolas Cage in any way? Yeah, not happening.